Good morning. This is Teacher Terry again with one of my wonderfully unsolicited videos. And today I want to ask you a couple of questions. How secure or what is the purpose of the online English industry? Now, let's take this into context if we will. This is just something that I dreamed last night. And I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying it's not true because I personally enjoy teaching online. I love it. But is there an alternative movement within certain parts of the world about everyone speaking English? Now, I agree, we need to have a universal language. But I also remember, biblically speaking, that supposedly God separated languages for a reason so no one could all communicate. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I just threw that in there. One thing that I want to ask you today is this form of teaching imploding on itself? One thing that I've noticed lately in many companies, and I don't know if you've put it two and two together or not, but it looks like it's almost like a pyramid. Somebody at the top starts it, and somebody over here brings in a lot of students that are paying in a lot of money. Then they start hiring teachers. Teachers are making lots of big money. Then suddenly they start telling these teachers to start getting more teachers. They start getting a referral fee. So the only way they're getting extra money is by getting someone under them. Someone under them, they tell them, get more teachers. They start making money off the ones they hire, plus the salaries start coming down. The people at the top start losing their income base. The only thing they can do is keep bringing more people into the business. And so they're supporting their income with the people that's coming in because their classes are falling. Eventually, these people are weaned out, the next tier stops up, and it just seems like an overflow. People are coming in at the bottom, the top is flowing over the edge of the cup, people are coming in the bottom, making all kinds of money run off the bat. It seems like they're feeding the classes to these new people who are actually making less money. People at the top are still making a whole lot of money, but as these people are bringing more in under the referral initiatives, turning everybody into referral monkeys, because the people up here as they're coming up are getting fewer classes, they're starting to rely on referrals. The more referrals come up, the less wages, they're getting pushed up, they're out over the top because they're not getting enough classes. So you see, what it appears to be in a way is that all of these online companies are filling the bottom up with these new teachers and shoveling all of these classes into them at a lower pay because the pay, as you know, has fallen way down. People at the top are still getting their cream off the top, but as these people are bringing in more money and they're starting to bring in more teachers, their classes are starting to drift down, but they're still living off the referral fees. Suddenly they're not getting in, they just flow over the top. It looks like there's a never-ending fountain just flowing like an avalanche coming off a mountain. See, this is what it appears to me, because there's a whole lot of companies out there getting this reputation with overhire. Is this not making sense to you? Because it's sure making a lot of sense to me. I'm calling the fountain of recycling. Recycling the money into a lower pay, but there's so many people out there looking for that easy sitting home, sitting on their butt making money, and then referring for it. Now look at the referral fees. The referral fee themselves is a very good enticement. Think about it. If you're making $15 an hour, but they're going to give you, say, $100 for a referral, that's 6 classes worth for one person. So what's your incentive? Get as many referrals as you can, and for every one you get, that's 6 classes you didn't have to teach. What you're not doing and what you're not thinking about, because you become a referral monkey, is that now you're being pushed to the top with all these new teachers at the bottom who are needing classes. They're feeding them all kinds of classes. You're starting to see your class still drop down. New teachers are coming up. You're going to start flowing over the edge because you can't survive anymore. But now these teachers that are coming up are referring like crazy because they're needing more money too. They don't want to leave. They have faith. They've been told, hey, you're going to make it. You're going to get these benefits. Benefits start disappearing. And suddenly you flow over the top too, down the waterfall into despair. Big cycle. You fall off of this company. You slide into this company. Somebody else gets a referral, you start up, you fall back off like this, you fall into another company, you fall into this one, you fall back off. It's a never-ending cycle, it seems. And what is the end goal? We're teaching Chinese English. Very few accents, very, very good. China has its own hidden agendas. But why is the focus in China and not all over the world more than it is? You see, they've got it down to an art right now. If you can keep people flowing like that mountain, keep flowing like the fountain, you don't have time to figure it out. And there's a psychological damage going on here too. Very psychological. Now, I may be off. I may be off on this. But I think it's time for us to sit down and figure it out. Take a pencil. How many companies have you worked for that you started out real good, and then you've seen all these referral monkeys sitting out there that were in before you were? It's got their websites, got their YouTube sites, got this I'll help you sites, got this use my card site, use my number site. You know, you fight it, you fight it, you fight it, and then eventually you start doing it too. I did, and I don't like it because I have faith in the company. But now, the first month, I'm in the top 7% of teachers. I did 167 classes. Now, it's almost 3 weeks into this month. I'm down to 107. But what happened was they cut out the attendance bonus already after that first month. They cut out a couple of the incentives and make some of them harder to get to. And I talked to the boss. I said, well, you know, this is how some people are making money now. They're referring people. And we'll pay you so much money if you refer people. Now, wait a minute. If I keep referring people, I start floating on the top. I'm getting closer to the edge. And now, with my classes falling off, it puts a whole lot of pressure on me to get out there and get those people in, doesn't it? Doesn't it? You see, they get you hooked to where you really like that company. Oh, they're so nice to you. Oh, they're so wonderful to you. Oh, they just give you all kinds of stuff. You know, if it ain't your problem with your stuff, they've got an IT problem they're working on. But yet, you look over here, your friends are getting all their classes still. Their schedules are still being full. But there's people here, 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 and here, spread out just enough to where, oh, there's an IT glitch. No one can put two and two together. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? Do you know what I'm saying? And the next thing you know, start researching those companies. Start throwing on that Glassdoor. Start looking at the company's name they used to be and look at that reputation that company had. And they're almost identical. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? You see, they've got a system that works. See, the people at the top are still creaming off the top of the milk. And the milk at the bottom is getting diluted as it gets to the top. And when there's not enough cream here, because they've done taken the cream right off the top, you just kind of flow off into the overflow. You see, there's an old way of taking oil when they pump oil into a tank. They've got a drain pipe sitting here that goes all the way to the bottom. And that oil, they just start filling it up. Now, oil floats on top of the water, don't it? Sure it does. Sure it does. So, as it fills up, the water's sitting at the bottom, and it fills up until it gets to the top, and suddenly that siphon, as the oil gets higher, the water's running out of the bottom. You see, they get you so watered down, you get down at the bottom, you just filter right out of the top and you're gone. They don't even have a treatment for you. Who's getting the oil right off the top? See, the very top has another drain going straight into the money barrel. You ain't up there. You may be around in the middle. You know, you're up here in the middle, but you're slowly being turned into water, and you're slowly floating down to the top. So all these people coming in, you know, they're up here, and it's in this mix, and they're doing real good, you know. You got some of them floating up with the oil, making that money, and then slowly they start to separate down into the water, and the water starts getting sucked off the bottom and kicked out into the drain. And this bubbling mixture up here is still going. That's where everybody's at. Somebody's making money. And slowly they start to separate down into the water. The water's being flushed out. But the guy at the top, that guy at the top, his pipe's going right over here into the money barrel. Think about how that works. Now, some of you may not be mechanically inclined, but I think I can maybe draw you a little picture. And I'm going to try. I may mess this up, but I'm going to try. You see, what happens is you've got a big tank. And then you got another pipe. And so just look at this. Now, what happens is all the good stuff comes right in here, and that's where you are. It's all bubbly, everything's happening all in here, okay? Everybody's making money, everybody's getting their little piece of the pie, but slowly people are starting to separate out because there's still more coming in. There's more and more coming in. Some people get bubbling up here because they're working real hard, but eventually they start settling down here. Down here is where the water separates out of oil. Now the oil, it just keeps flowing. It keeps getting more and more. It's going out here at the top. That's where the people's making their money. That's where the company's making their money. That's where the big dogs live. Now down here, you're not getting up to the big dog. You can't get through this layer. Because all these people up here, they're starting to separate from the oil. They're starting to separate from all the classes. They're starting to separate down because there's too many other people coming in too. And they're settling. And what happens? The siphon effect runs up this pipe. And you end up falling out. You end up falling out. So as more people are coming in, more people are falling out. They're going right up to the siphon, and they're going right out into nothing. But old Homer up here, these people, they're still making this guy some money. He's going to get money at the top. But they keep telling you to keep referring. So coming in with these new students, there's also a buttload of new teachers under the referral. And they're coming in here right at the bottom of this, and they're getting all these classes funneled to them, giving it to them, and these other teachers, they're drifting. They're falling out. They're separating the oil from the water, the wheat from the shaft, and then they get caught up into despair. They can't start, they're starving out. They get sucked up into this vacuum, which is running at the same top level, but they're falling out. Being at the same level gives them hope. They can kind of see there may be some hope, but there's no hope. Eventually they fall right out, and they go into the waste. Gone, done, dead. You're not making enough money. We're going to renew your contract. Well, they give you any reason they want. If you can understand this analogy, maybe you can understand how the online companies are starting to work today. A lot of it, blame it on COVID-19. Blame it on whatever you want to, but there's a whole lot of people in the world right now wanting to get in on the company. Where are they targeting these teachers? America, New Zealand, English-speaking countries. Why? Is there a hidden agenda? Can we educate our brainwashed youth of today in China to believe everything the Communist Party tells them? That eventually they can walk right across a tarmac, right out of an airport, speaking perfect English, and suddenly, bam, we are infiltrated. I'm not saying that's true. I just kind of went off on a wild hair right there. But you don't see this big thing happening on this large of a scale with this many companies in Europe or in any other country. This is just Teacher Terry with a little bit of that thought going on. What is the conspiracy? What is the conspiracy and the art of hiring? Something.